Welcome to another episode of the Only Arena Show. And today's guest is someone who I like to call a friend. I met him on a cruise contract. I thought he was an absolute top bloke, very easygoing guy, but also very talented one. And so when I saw his show, I was like, where does this guy get all his energy from? Like his show was absolutely amazing. And so I wanted to invite him on because he's had such a great career. He has a lot of wisdom and a lot of upcoming projects. So I'm so happy to introduce to you all Mr. Nathan Foley.
Hey, Arena, how are you, doll?
Good, thanks, mate.
Good to
How are
see
you?
you. You powerhouse, you. How you
I
doing?
wish, mate. I wish,
You
mate.
are. You're fantastic. Love you. Love
Uh,
your voice. Love it.
uh, Ditto, mate. Ditto. So look, thank you for hopping on. Thank you for your time. I think let's take it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Let's have a chat about how did this all start for you?
It
Because
started in the womb. No, I can't remember that far back. No. Um, I think yeah. I mean, I knew what I wanted to do since I was five. I think first music I ever heard was the Jackson Five, and
nice.
I mimicked Little Michael for 5 years. And by the time I was 10, I was working with bands and orchestras, and I sounded a lot like him at that age. And by the time I was 10, I also recorded my first album. So it was just a passion. It's always been a passion to be on stage and to entertain whatever form of entertainment that would be, whether it be TV or music theater or recording or on stage, my own production shows. I love everything. So that's pretty much where it all started when I was a kid, and I didn't know where my career would have ended up or how it was going to go, but I'm still here today, thank goodness, and still loving it.
That's awesome. So I guess what was the main turning point for you? Because I know that for me personally, like the first moment where I kind of thought, hey, like maybe I can actually take this professionally was honestly like when I was around 11 years old when like I had gotten like my first professional gig. And so the promoter that had booked me for that particular event just loved like everything about my voice, in which like I had always, gone to karaoke or like, just really loved singing, but like I never thought until up at that moment, like, hey, like maybe like I can turn pro. So was there a specific moment like within your childhood or like even in your teens where like you thought, hey, like I can actually do this as, as like my main form of living?
Even to this day, I mean, obviously, we've all got to pay our bills. We've got
Mm.
responsibilities and things that come up that we have to tend to. Back then, I don't think I was thinking about business or thinking about career. I just thought about being on stage.
Mm.
Even today, like I hate the fact that we have to pay bills and all that stuff and be responsible human beings or adults. Because honestly, I'd do this job for free if I could. I really would. So even going back to, you're talking about being 11 and stuff like that. I mean, I knew that I love being on stage. I knew that I love to sing and having it's just honestly, it's like a drug being on stage, as you know.
Yeah.
Having that audience reaction, having that band pumping behind you is just something that you'd never be able to explain that experience to someone that's never done it before or never
Yeah.
that isn't in this industry. So I think what's that old saying they always say? Look, if you love what you'll do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I really, truly do believe that. Obviously, and saying that, I'm not saying that our job is easy in any form of capacity. You got to put on a lot of different hats to
Yeah.
make this. It is called show business for a reason because there is a
Mm.
business side to it. But overall, like my passion is for the show. The business side of it just comes with it, I guess, to me. So
Of course.
there's things you have to do, but I think if you lose your passion for being on stage or lose your passion for something, then I think it will start looking. It starts becoming like a job.
Mm.
So honestly, I think yeah. Still to this day, I struggle to think. Oh, that's right. I've got to earn a living from this. That's right. This is what I'm doing it for. I love being on stage, but oh, thank you. Give me a paycheck as well.
Yeah. And look, I think it's so tough, especially in Australia and the Australian music scene, because we're such a small country, like at the end of the day. And like I just find it so disheartening when like I see a lot of especially younger artists that have a lot of talent, have a lot of potential, but as soon as they get into certain hurdles or like get into the tough part of the industry, like that's when they stop. So like I personally think that one of the keys to success, especially in this particular industry, is that you need to have a lot of perseverance. So like I just want to talk about like overcoming challenges, especially within the entertainment industry. Like obviously every career comes with like its own set of like challenges, but were there any particular obstacles that you encountered and how did you sift through it?
Well, I think if there's no challenges or no hurdles, I think that's when you're not living. Does that
Yeah,
make sense? I
yeah,
think we have to go through these struggles, and because especially with the entertainment industry, I mean, there's always going to be more no's than yeses.
yeah.
There's going to be a lot of hurdles. There's going to be a lot of backstabbing. There's going to be a lot of competition out there of people not wanting to support or respect you as an artist because they don't want you to grow. They don't want you to move forward in your career. And look, I've
Mm,
I've come across a lot of that in my career. Like, why is this person not acting this way? Why are they not respecting this? I know the reason because they're not probably not getting work or they're not getting, being as successful. Because reality is we're not always going to be on top of our game. And I'm not talking about our skills on stage. I'm talking about being, in the limelight or being successful. It's not always going to be there. Um, I think the industry these days has taken a really dark tunnel with all these reality shows. And I'm not saying that they're awful things because I've participated in them as well, but I think it's giving a wrong sort of platform to giving these kids a vision that fame is the first thing that they should strive for. And
yeah,
I've always said fame is not real. It is not real. Anybody can be famous. You can end up on the front page news by being an axe murderer. You know what I mean? That's, you know what I mean? It's like anybody can be famous these days, especially with social media. It's another entity that's come into play in the last 10, 15 years. So I honestly believe that with all these hurdles, the strongest sort of thing that I can tell people that are up and coming or even still going, that, just to give them a bit of fresh perspective, is that just keep working on your craft. Um, Try and be the best that you can be. Don't worry about everybody else. Don't worry about what other people think of you. Just move forward and be the best that you can be, because that's when people start waking up, noticing and giving you opportunities, because they're going, oh, this guy's in his own lane. He's doing his own thing. And he's got a passion for it. Oh my God. Oh, she's got I can see that she's just killing on stage. What is her secret? Well, it all comes down to just having a passion for what you do and not worrying about these hurdles and what people think of you, because that really doesn't matter. What matters is the audience, not your peers, really, at the end of the day. You got to have a lot of peers that respect and obviously support you, and then you're going to have a lot that don't.
yeah.
So people that have hurdles, it's even harder these days. The industry is
Mm,
getting harder. It's getting a lot more finicky and a lot smaller. So just keep going. Just don't give up. That's all I can
yeah,
say. Is you're going to have bad days and good days. You're going to have days where money's not coming in, and you're going to have days that money's just flourishing. You know what I mean? So that's just the industry that we live in. Highs and lows. You just got to go with the flow and just keep improving your craft. And I think that's where you'll find your success, not through fame. You find
mm.
success through improving yourself every day.
I agree. I agree. And like I think the issue is for especially a lot of artists that really want to take their career to the next level is that they're constantly being told by producers or like even like agents that like they need to align themselves with what's more commercial.
Oh yeah,
But oh,
I've heard that one before.
yeah, it's
Funny, when I
just
did my album Hurricane, because I when I write songs, I don't specifically go, oh, I'm going to write a specific pop song, I'm going to write a specific rock song, or I'm going to write a jazz song, or whatever it is. I just write, and I tend to find artists that I've aspired to, like, looking back at the album Thriller, for instance, or looking back at Prince's Purple Rain. If you listen to those albums, there's not one specific style on there. There's a plethora of different things. There's ballads, there's rock, there's pop, there's like a mixture of different things. There's a fusion of both. So when I did Hurricane, that was exactly what I did. I just wrote from the heart. Well, when I got it to push it out into the world, it's funny, and I won't name names, but some people came back going, oh, that's just too pop for this rock thing that we want to do. And people go, oh, that's just too rock for the pop thing. It's like, I don't get it. Like, you, you don't want to put a poppy kind of song that's got rock and pop. Why don't you just put them out there in the world? You know, there's a lot of radio stations, especially in America, that they just promote music.
Mm,
But for some reason in Australia, they just like to stick to their stations. And like, if we go outside that style, oh no, the audience is not going to like it. We'll give it a try.
mm.
But I think, as you said, it's regurgitated shit. There's a lot of stuff out there. Hope, please excuse my language. But when it comes to that, like they just want to go, oh, it's got to sound exactly the way that that one's produced, or exactly the same melody, or same. It's like, don't go with the flow. Be an individual. Look at the last 5 decades of music. If you think about the last 10 years, or even from the late '90s, early noughties, probably too young for that. But you look at the music and go, oh shit, that sounds exactly similar to that kind of vibe. But you look back at the '80s, '70s, even the '60s. A lot of the music you could differentiate the artist. You can go, oh, that's Billy Joel, oh, that's Elton John, that's Stevie Wonder. You know what I mean? You can tell what artist was when you listen to them. But now it's like, is that Usher or is that someone else? It sounds like, no, it's not Usher, but it sounds like someone's like Usher that's doing similar kind of stuff that
Yeah.
Usher's doing. So I don't get it. I don't know what. Well, I know the reason behind it. It's because it's
Mm,
about money making. That's all it is. It's
yeah.
regurgitated stuff, and it's the sure bet. But
Mm,
I've always believed just take a gamble and go with your own creativeness. Write what you want, and let's
mm.
put that out into the world. Give people a little bit more of a recipe for music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I fully agree with you because like you got to balance like you being you and like authentic to the type of style and like how like you want to present yourself, especially on stage. Because like I can't think of anything worse of like, you know, aligning myself to be more commercial and then having to sing my hit 100 times a year, hating that song because it's like, well, this isn't me. Like truly, I cannot think of anything worse. But
Mm.
look, it's just I think where the industry's heading, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, it's always been about the business and like money making side, but there's no artist development anymore. It's
No.
like I see often it's like it's to do with metrics. It's like what you're following, and obviously,
Oh
like, if
yeah.
you go on like these TV shows, like, I get it because they want to roll off the momentum, but then at the same time, I mean, like, you and I have been on these shows, so like we know what goes on behind the scenes. Whereas when you first go into shows like that, like you don't expect the level of just like editing and just what goes behind the scenes. Like you don't expect it to
Oh
be
yeah.
of that magnitude.
Yep.
So see, I feel that a lot of these shows or like a lot of these platforms have the potential to find really good singers and like really develop them into being like artists with a career that's going to have longevity. But unfortunately, like it's more so short term of like, how can we use a particular marketing strategy to like try and get as much money as we can within a short period of time. I feel that that's what's kind of pivoted now.
Oh, yeah. It's just
So
put money first and then development and talent second.
yeah,
When they should
yeah,
be developing the strengths of each artist, because each artist is completely different. We all have
mm,
something different to offer. We
mm,
can't all be the same person. We can't all
yeah,
sing the same stuff. We need to play on our strengths and sing what is good for us. And in that way, like I'm with my son, he's 5. Like I've ever since he was a baby, I've been exposing him to great songs, great music, and I just I rarely play any of the top 40 stuff now that sounds all the same. Like I'm exposing to Stevie and Michael Jackson and Prince and all the great rock, even some Australian rock like AC/DC. I'm exposing to everything to go, this is it. And he's singing around the house songs from the '80s. I'm like, oh my god, he's 5, and it's like, oh, that's right, yeah, it's because he hears it once and then he's singing it. It's like, this is
mm,
awesome. It's exactly what I wanted to do.
yeah, yeah. Because like back then, I felt that they were all proper musicians.
Mm,
Whereas now, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I mean, like, there are like some talented singers and like, talented songwriters out there, but it's all to do with what's the formula? Like
yeah,
everything is just so like box cut and just so doesn't meet a criteria,
yeah,
which I feel really kind of takes away from the soul of what music should be, truthfully.
exactly.
So like for me, like I'm a massive fan of like the 70s, 80s, 90s. Like I think some of the best songs ever like came across those particular 3 decades because it was all about well, how can we look for what's next, or like, how can we fuse things, or like,
Mm,
how can we push boundaries?
yeah.
Whereas now it's just a lot of sampling, a lot of the same beats, a lot of the
Mm,
just same.
yeah. Well, the
So,
70s, they did that
yeah.
in the 70s, like,
Mm,
when Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye, and they all broke out in the early 70s saying, no, I want complete control of my artistry. Stevie Wonder broke out from doing, Signed, Sealed, Delivered and My Sharia More, and he went into doing an album called Where I'm Coming From, which came out in 1971. I wasn't around. But it's a fantastic album. He thought, no, I want to do this all my own. You listen to it and go, wow, there's some incredible arrangements, incredible songs in here. Not all of them were overly commercial, but it's lasted the test of time. It's
mm,
stayed there, and then he went on to do
mm,
Song in the Key of Life and all those Talking Book and just incredible music in the 70s, and Marvin Gaye doing What's Going On, it's political songs. Not that I'd go and write political songs. I stay away from politics. But, artists back in the 70s definitely started, their own little musical riot, and it was appreciated. So
mm.
we're sounding so bitchy right now, aren't we? We love the industry. We're just telling the truth, damn it.
No, no.
Like,
Look,
I
I
can't
mean,
believe this music. The children of today. Oh my goodness.
no, look, like I think there's good and bad parts of the
Oh,
industry for like
absolutely.
every decade. I mean,
Yeah.
like I think a positive of the industry that we are in now is that independent artists have a lot more opportunity to make their own stuff and then to
Yeah.
promote it themselves. It's like you don't
Absolutely.
really need a label anymore. So
No.
like that's what I do appreciate. But then on the flip side, it's like, well, now we're competing with all the other independent artists out there where there's a lot more volume that we now have to compete with. But like I don't really see music as a competition per se, but
No.
like it's
I get
just
about being
yeah,
heard.
yeah, but at least we get that opportunity to have that artistic freedom to be able to write what we want to write and then promote it ourselves. So
Absolutely.
yeah, because like I know that in one of our past conversations, when we were talking about, well, trying to build like a power team and like having to wear like so many different hats. I mean, I personally prefer to have my toe dipped in everything because
Mm.
then I can make sure that it aligns with me as an artist. So
Yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah,
You
yes.
got to, you got to, you got to, you got to. Well, that just comes back to having a passion for it and keeping it, staying excited.
Mm,
If we stay in the one thing continuously and don't change and don't improve and don't grow, then of course we're going to get very bored. That's in any line of work.
mm,
Uh, so definitely, yeah, you got to, especially in Australia. I mean, Australia is a different kind of country. It's a smaller population, very finicky when it comes to music, and Australia listens to a lot of what America pushes our way. You know what I mean?
mm,
So it's kind of like follow the leader sometimes with that. So it's a different kind of industry. So you got to in Australia, you've really got to try different things. I mean, that's why I tried to learn guitar. Teach myself guitar, piano, sing, dance, act. Try and put everything into one because when jobs come along, you go, yeah, I can do that. Yep, I can do that. Even if you
mm,
can't, even if you half can do it, just say, yep, I
mm.
can do it. Just go out there and what's the take it to make it really,
Yeah,
it's the best
yeah.
thing to do. And then you learn by being on stage. It's your biggest learning curve. I mean, I don't know. I'll probably get a lot of crap from what I'm about to say, but I don't think that you can be taught to sing. I don't. That's just
Mm,
me personally. I think you've either got it or you don't. You might be able to improve on something that you half have, maybe, but I honestly think, it's just something that you've given. It's a God given thing to, I think it is. That's just
mm.
my opinion. So all the people
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
learning to sing are going, I hate you, Nathan Foley, you suck.
No, because like sometimes like you can hear when like someone is a natural singer
Mm,
versus being a well-trained singer.
yeah.
Like I think you can tell them apart because like a well-trained singer sounds nice, but they don't have that edge or like that grit or like that own individual like just like their own persona through their voice. So like
Mm,
I think you're spot on with what you're saying because music isn't for everyone because like I've done a lot of different things like in my life, in terms of like I used to work in banking, etc. And truly, out of everything I've ever done, I think singing is the most challenging aspect because it's all you. And plus, on top of that, it's like when you're on stage, it's like, okay, I got to think about the words, I got to think about the crowd, you know. It's like there's so many things which you have to think about at once to really put on a show. And so I definitely think it is one of the most underrated skills in the world, truly, because
Yeah,
there's
and
so many
especially
different things going on.
yeah, especially when COVID hit, and then our industry was like, "Oh, that's not, it's not on top of the list for anybody." It's just like,
Oh.
right, okay, fantastic, yeah, okay. So you don't need entertainment. How about we just sack everyone on the TV stations and everyone at Netflix as well, because that's entertainment as well. But no, no, no,
Oh,
that's a skill. That's a oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
bitchy again. I'm being bitchy. I got to be I think I'm so tired today. I'm
Yeah.
like I was just saying to you earlier. I'm playing promoter, manager, entertainer, dad, and husband at the same time right now, and I'm just so I've had a big couple of days. So it's probably like I'm just one of those. I'm in one of those moods. Let's go. Let's get them. Let's get them.
Yeah. Well, look, like obviously, like you have a lot coming up.
Yeah.
And so like and so I want to touch on that because, you know, I've been seeing like some of the promos for your new shows coming up, which is Unforgettable and Aussie to the Bone. So why don't we have a chat about that? So why those shows? It's like what kind of inspired you to really pick these two themes and like to turn it into what I assume is going to be a fantastic show?
Well, the first one was Aussie. I've done three of those now. Aussie to the Bone shows. I think I wanted to approach music for these two shows that I kind of was inspired by as a singer, because obviously I've never had any singing lessons, but I learned by listening to artists. And Aussie to the Bone, I listened to a lot of like the early '90s pop rock stuff from Southern Sons and John Farnham and who else? Noiseworks and Rick Price and all these fantastic Australian artists. And I learned a lot vocally by listening to them when I was 9 or 10 years of age. So I thought, gee, I looked through all the catalogue of Australian music, and I thought Australian music really is fantastic. A lot has, sold millions of records in other countries as well. And I thought I really wanted to pay homage to some of the great Australian artists because there is a lot of tribute shows out there. A lot of them pay tribute to a lot of the overseas acts, and there's only a handful of Aussie ones out there. And it wasn't just because of that, but I just love the music and I love performing it. And
Mm.
when you have a band behind you rocking out to Australian classic pop rock songs and the ballads and things, it was beautiful. It's just beautiful to be on stage and the audience are joining in. The energy is incredible. And Unforgettable. I love the crooners. One of my favorite singers would have to be Nat King Cole. Reason being is the tones in his voice. I learned a lot by listening to him because I'm a baritone. People say I'm a light tenor, but I think I'm more baritone. But when I'm doing my lower register singing, um, it's just like my ear always I hear Nat all the time when I'm singing lower songs, and he just comes into my mind, and I learn a lot by his lower register and his songs and his placement. And I just think a lot of the singers back then were just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful vocalists. So that's the reason why I wanted to put my Unforgettable show together, which is a 50s and 60s music. And the energy back then was incredible too, especially for the rock and roll songs. It
Mm.
was a different kind of world back there. So
Mm.
they're vastly different shows, but both very enjoyable. So
Mm, mm. Because I personally think that John Farnham is one of the most underrated male singers to ever live. Truly, I think he should have had a much bigger career than what he had. I mean, like he had a good career, but just for the quality of his voice, I was
mm,
like, mate, like it just blows my mind because like I
mm,
sing like a couple of like Johnny Farnham songs, you know, especially when I sing like overseas and often like 50% of the time like the crowd doesn't know the Johnny Farnham stuff
mm,
which is so popular here, but like he had cracker songs, a cracker voice, just this beautiful tone, like I'm full crushing on it, but just a really underrated singer. So like that's why I find it such a shame because like Aussies like we have like some really really great artists, but like for whatever reason it's just some of them, even though they're so deserving of it, like they don't get to that real like A-list tier. And like I think
mm.
John Farnham like is like A plus in my
Well,
eyes. Like he's awesome.
I mean, whether it's true or not, I heard that John Farnham had the opportunity to go to America and make it big, and he
Mm,
decided not to because he wanted to be home with family and be a dad and a good husband. So I
mm,
totally respect that, whether
mm,
that's true or not. Um, at the same time, like he's very well known around. I think he did very well in Germany and
mm.
other countries around the world as well. But I think he was one of those things coming back to the fame thing. I don't know whether he was driven by that. I think he was
No.
driven by the passion of being on stage. Because you watch him entertain, he's lapping it up. He's loving every moment and communicating with the audience. And I've said I think we've all learnt and taken something from John Farnham, as
Mm,
vocalists and as entertainers. So, but I totally agree with you. I think that you could have seen him at the top over in the States and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm I'm selfishly saying, cool. I'm glad we got to keep him. Nice, yeah, and hope he's doing okay. That must be devastating because obviously,
Yeah.
as I said, like music is a drug. He must be really going through a lot right now, not being able to sing, and if you take that away from anybody that's had a career doing that, it must be really, really hard, mentally as well. So
Mm, Okay. Well, look, I've got a couple more questions for you and then we'll wrap up. So I gotta ask, mate. I cannot ask this question, but we gotta dabble a bit into the world of high five,
yeah,
okay? Because because the very first time like I actually met you, I think I was about 4, maybe 5 years old, and like I went to a
we
high
haven't
five
changed a bit. You haven't
concert.
changed.
Yeah, but like I remember at like 4 or like 5, because like that's when I started to sing, right? And it's like as soon as I watched Hi-5, I was like, wow, like my mind was blown. So obviously, Hi-5 was obviously a great starting point like for your career. I guess like what lessons did you learn from your experience in being Hi-5 and just like give us a bit of like tea about it, I suppose.
I was a young adult. I was 18 when I got into that. So at that stage, I already had a career going for 8 years in the industry. So it was at the time. I think I was a year out of high school, and I think I went for the audition. It was kind of like I was looking for a job. No,
Mm,
looking for the. I didn't think that it would end up or be as big as it was going to be, and none of us did. But what did I get out of that? I'll tell you what, I got life experience. The energy that I have today, I got from doing that show as well. I think just being able to push myself, push my limits, because we were touring probably, 7 months of the year, doing
yeah.
three 1.5 hour shows a day, 6 days a week when we're on the road. So
Jeez.
we pushed hard. Sometimes it was physically exhausted, nearly ended up in hospital a couple of times just from because I never said no, and I still
Mm,
don't. I push my limits all the time, trying to grow and push my body and stuff like that. Maybe it's not going to be a good thing in the end, in the long run, but I learned a lot from that. Just pushing myself, relationships. Working with 4 other people were all vastly different people. So learning to be in a group atmosphere, which I never did before that. So there was a lot of things, and compassion. Going to see the kids in the hospitals. As I said, like I was a young adult, so I was growing and as an adult, and that show taught me a lot, made me learn a lot, and I think the 10 years that I did that was probably one of the best experiences that I've ever had. It was an amazing time. It wasn't all glitz and glamour and love and light. There was down days and good days as we all have. So, but yeah, it was a great experience. It was part of my life. I think the biggest challenge now that I have is because, especially within Australia, is because I am very typecast with the show. And until people come and see me as a soloist in with my band, and they don't get it, they go,
mm,
"Oh, you're doing a show? Ah, do you do Hi-5 songs?" I went, No, I'm not. I'm doing this. I'm doing this show. This is what I'm doing." "Oh, so no Hi-5 stuff?" Yes, what I just said. Like like I have to like just go. But then you got to be careful because people think, oh, he doesn't want to talk about Hi-5. He's ashamed of us. Like it's not that.
mm,
It's just that was just one part of my life, and we're talking about dipping our toes into different things in the industry, and
mm.
and showcasing what we actually do as entertainers and performers. That was just one little smidge part of my life. Great part of my life. It was just only one part of me. You know what I mean? So when you have to consistently explain to people who you are as an entertainer and who you are now, it can get a little bit frustrating. And that's not me putting down Hi-5 at all, because I love that experience. And I love all the guys in the show. But when you're moving forward doing stuff, it is very, very hard when you have people that are narrow-minded and they don't see beyond that. But I get it. I understand it, because obviously it was on TV every day and it was someone's childhood, or it was a big part of their lives. But to me, it was a big part, but it was in the past.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
like to move forward. I always like to
Yeah.
keep moving forward. So
Yeah, well, mate, I think that they're missing out because obviously, I've seen you live, and like the energy is something like I've never seen. I was like, how does he like maintain a 10 10 10 for like 45 minutes, over an hour, and plus you dance, and then like this is the thing that I've learned is that it's rare to get a singer who is vocally talented but knows how to banter and engage an audience. Like often I see either they're a great singer, but like they don't have the people skills, or they're really good at like the banter and like the people side, but their voice is average. But like you just have it both. And
mm.
so like as soon as I saw your show, I was like, shit, like I need to be taking notes here. Like
The only, because yeah, I mean, I've spoken to. Thank you, darling. Appreciate that. I think
yeah,
very
all
very
good,
very
mate.
kind. I loved your show too, by the way.
Thanks.
I have always said, just be yourself. Don't think about it, but don't ever overthink it. You go
Mm,
out there and you pretend like these people are mates of yours and sitting in your lounge room having a beer. Just go
mm,
out there and perform. Talk to them. Don't talk at them, if that
mm,
makes any sense. Go and say,
mm,
hey, how you doing? Talk to people. If something comes up or someone shouts out something, talk to them, engage with them. Because
mm,
honestly, as an entertainer, there's not a lot of entertainers out there anymore. There really
mm,
isn't. It's like it's a dying breed, because it's all about the vocals and how high you can sing or how low you can sing or how many riffs you can do in a song. It's not about that. Like, that's just an added bonus. If you've got a great voice, fantastic. But if you're an entertainer and you can entertain, you can hold that crowd for 45 minutes or an hour or 2 hours. That is where it's at. And the only way to do that is to be yourself. Go out
mm,
there and be the authentic you. You talk to them like you're talking to them off stage, because they will get it. They'll understand. Like, if you're going to talk to them, hello, welcome. I'm so happy to be here tonight. This is a thrill of my life. Blah blah blah. People go, oh, this is bullshit. Just go and say, hey guys, how you doing? Oh, so cool. It's great. Thanks for coming along tonight. Blah blah blah. Be legitimate with them. Just
mm.
talk like you just from here, and then not
Yeah,
all from here. It's got to be
yeah.
from here too.
I love it. I love it. So then if there was an artist, dead or alive, that you could do a collaboration with, who would it be and why?
Jesus, so many. I mean, my ultimate would have to always be Stevie. Like,
Mm.
that'd be incredible, just to sit at a piano with him and whip out a song from Songs in the Key of Life or something. Um, Tears in the Park. You know that song?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think so. It's been a while.
Imagination in my head and words from my heart. Only to the winds felt, even without being said.
I'm going to
I
private
don't want to
concert you.
bore you with. Oh, I can't sing right now. It's very early. Um, Such a beautiful, beautiful song.
Yeah.
Anyway, that would be my absolute collab. And he's getting older now. I'm just like, come on, man, just got to hang in there. Do another album. Damn it, it's been over 10 years.
Yeah.
But no, I love Stevie. I think he's absolute genius. And I've seen him twice. Best one was Four Rows from the front
Wow.
at the casino in Sydney. I was like that. Yeah, I could see his nose hairs. That's how close it was. He
Yeah.
couldn't. He couldn't see him, but he didn't see me, but I saw him.
Yeah, well, my answer was, going to be Nathan Foley, but I see how it is. I see how it is.
What's yours? What's your
Um,
Dead or Alive collab?
oh man.
Never heard of
Well,
them. Oh,
no, like
man.
honest, it's so hard because like I listen to all kinds of music. I mean, like I'm a big like Chris Martin Coldplay fan, but then I love Billy Joel, but then like there's just so many people. Look, I gotta say stay true to my younger self. I'll probably say Celine Dion. Like
Okay, all right.
I was in love with that woman like for
Yeah,
many years. Like I have
there you
every
go.
album of hers. Like she was my first concert that like I ever went to. So I gotta say Celine Dion, but there's honestly such a long list. Hey,
I
like
could
there's
see you on the end of a ship with her. My heart will go on.
Oh mate.
Have Jack down the front.
Yeah.
Surviving.
Oh God. Oh my goodness. Oh man. But look,
Uh,
anyway, thanks, mate. Look, I really appreciate your time as well as a lot of your wisdom. So obviously, can you let everyone know like how do they find you? How do they find your shows? How can they get in contact with you?
Oh, geez. Well, most of my shows, there's more coming up that tickets are still getting sorted out for. But the best thing is go to nathanfoley.com and you'll see all my shows there, and you'll see my music videos. You'll see promos from my shows on there as well. So yeah, that's probably the best thing. And my socials, if you want to get my socials, just at Nathan Foley official on Instagram and on Facebook.
Love it, love it.
Yeah.
Well, we always got to support the independent artists because I think that they're the future. So
Yeah.
So honestly, mate, thank you for your time. Have
Thanks,
absolutely loved
Savannah.
this chat. I could have done it for another hour at least, but we have places to be. So honestly, thank you so much.
Thanks, darling. Hope to see you again soon. Let's collab together, eh?
Oh yeah, that's the dream. Thanks, mate.